Victoria Hastings arrived in Willowmere on a grey Thursday morning, driving a sleek black Mercedes that looked obscenely out of place on the village's narrow cobblestone streets. She parked in front of the Shepherd's Rest, stepped out in designer heels and a cashmere coat, and surveyed the village with the expression of a general assessing a battlefield. This would be easy. She'd destroyed bigger targets than a washed-up actress hiding in a nobody village. George, the publican, watched through the pub window as she checked in. Something about her made his skin crawl. The way she smiled without warmth, the way her eyes catalogued everything, like she was pricing it for auction. Journalist, he muttered to himself. Nothing good ever comes from them. Stelle woke that morning with a sense of dread so heavy she could barely breathe. Victoria was here, in Willowmere, probably already asking questions, digging up dirt, preparing to write whatever twisted narrative would get the most clicks. Mrs. Pemberton found her sitting at the kitchen table, still in her nightgown at 9 o'clock, staring at nothing. "Stelle, dear, you haven't touched your breakfast. She's here." The journalist, Victoria Hastings. She's here to destroy everything. Mrs. Pemberton sat down across from her. "Then we'll face her together." "You don't understand. This woman ruined my mother's career with lies. She never apologised, never corrected the story. She'd just moved on to her next victim, and now I'm it. What does she want? To write a story about how I'm mentally unstable, how I've abandoned my career, how I'm using religion as a publicity stunt." Stelle's voice cracked. "And the worst part is people will believe her. They always do." Mrs. Pemberton took Stelle's hands firmly. "Listen to me. This village has weathered storms for 800 years. We've survived plagues, wars, economic collapse, and more nosy outsiders than you can imagine. We will weather this too. But what if she hurts you? All of you? You've been so kind to me, and I've brought this to your doorstep." "Nonsense. You brought yourself, broken and needing help. We chose to help. That's not your burden, it's our privilege." Mrs. Pemberton stood. "Now get dressed. We're going to church." "Church? It's Thursday." "Prayer meeting?" 10 o'clock. "And you need to tell Pastor Thomas what's happening. We circle the wagons, remember? But first, people need to know what they're circling against." An hour later, Stelle found herself in the church fellowship hall with Pastor Thomas, Arthur, Will, Mrs. Pemberton, and a handful of other village leaders. She told them everything. About her mother's destroyed career, about Victoria's 1998 article that was based on lies, about the threatening email, about how Victoria was here to write a follow-up story, painting Stelle as mentally unstable, her faith as fake, and the village as a cult-like community enabling her breakdown. "She'll interview people," Stelle said. "She'll twist words. Make you all look like you're taking advantage of me or hiding me or, I don't know. She's very good at making good people look sinister." Pastor Thomas leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. "What is it you're afraid of, Stelle? Her writing a story? Or her writing the truth?" The question hit like a slap. What? Are you afraid she'll lie? Or are you afraid she'll expose something true that you're not ready to face?" Stelle felt tears coming. "Both. I am broken. I did run away. My faith is new and shaky and probably looks fake to outsiders. Everything she writes could have a kernel of truth twisted into something ugly." "Then we tell the truth first," Arthur said quietly, "before she can twist it." "What do you mean?" "She wants a story. Give her one, on your terms, the real story, not the Hollywood version, not the performance, the truth." Will leaned forward. "Stelle, you don't have to—" "No, Arthur's right." Pastor Thomas nodded. "The antidote to a lie isn't silence, it's truth spoken boldly. If Victoria wants to write about you, let her, but make sure she has to reckon with the real story." "You mean talk to her? Willingly?" "I mean invite her to Sunday service," Pastor Thomas said. "Let her see the community. Let her see your faith in context. Let her interview people who will tell her the truth, that you came here broken and are being put back together. That's not a scandal, that's a testimony. She'll spin it. She'll make it sound like brainwashing or, let her try, Mrs. Pemberton said firmly. This village has been bearing witness to God's grace for centuries. We're not afraid of a London journalist with an agenda. George, the publican, spoke up. I've got her staying in my pub. I'll keep an ear out, see what she's really after. Sarah Carmichael, the single mother Stelle had met at lunch, raised her hand. I'll talk to her if she approaches me. I'll tell her what your film meant to me. The truth. One by one, the villagers volunteered, not to attack Victoria, but to simply tell the truth. Stelle felt overwhelmed. Why would you do this? Risk her writing terrible things about you? Because, Arthur said gently, this is what the body of Christ does. We bear one another's burdens. Your burden is our burden now. That afternoon, Victoria began her interviews. She started with Tom Webb, cornering him outside the village shop. You're the one who recognised Stella Monroe, correct? Tom Webb? Tom shifted uncomfortably. Yeah, I recognised her, but I didn't post anything. She asked me not to. Interesting. Did she offer you money, threaten you? What? No, she just She was scared. She looked like she needed privacy, so I gave it to her. Victoria typed notes on her tablet. Tell me, Tom, does it seem odd to you that a Hollywood actress would hide in a village like this? Doesn't that suggest instability? Perhaps substance abuse? Mental health crisis? No, Tom said firmly. It suggests she needed a break from people like you. Victoria's smile tightened. I see she's already won you over. Tell me about the church. Is she attending regularly? Has she been baptised? Given money? She goes to church, yeah, because she wants to. Nobody's forcing her. And William Hartley, the bookshop owner, they're close? They're friends. Friends? Or something more? Is he taking advantage of a vulnerable woman? Tom's jaw clenched. Will's the best man in this village. He helps everyone. And he's not taking advantage of anyone. I see. More typing. Thank you, Tom. You've been very helpful. After she left, Tom immediately texted Will. That journalist is bad news. She's trying to make everything sound creepy. Victoria continued her rounds. She interviewed Mrs. Fletcher at the bakery, who told her about Stelle helping knead bread and learning to make scones. Doesn't that seem performative to you? Victoria asked. A millionaire actress playing at being ordinary? No, Mrs. Fletcher said. It seems like a young woman learning to be happy. She interviewed George at the pub, who described Stelle eating shepherd's pie and being treated normally. But she's clearly in crisis, running from her fiancé, abandoning her career. Don't you think this village is enabling her breakdown rather than helping her get professional help? I think, George said slowly, that sometimes the best help is a place where people don't treat you like you're broken. She interviewed Sarah Carmichael, who spoke emotionally about Stelle's films helping her through divorce. So you're a fan. Don't you think that clouds your judgment? Makes you want to protect her even if she's being manipulated by this community? Nobody's manipulating anyone, Sarah said. We're just being kind. Is that so hard to understand? By late afternoon, Victoria had a dozen interviews and a narrative forming. Unstable actress, isolated village, charismatic pastor, vulnerable woman being indoctrinated, possibly a romance with the bookshop owner who's taking advantage, classic cult-like behaviour disguised as Christian charity. It would write itself. That evening, Will found Stelle at the stone bridge. She was sitting on the wall, legs dangling, staring at the water. She'd been crying. People have been texting me all day, she said without turning, telling me about Victoria's interviews. How she's twisting everything, making you all sound sinister, making me sound insane. Will sat beside her, close but not touching. We knew she would. I should leave. If I leave, she has no story. The village goes back to normal. You go back to your life. Everyone's safe. Stelle, I ruin everything I touch, Will. Hollywood, my parents, my friendships, and now this village that's been nothing but kind to me. I'm poison. Stop. She turned to him, surprised by the sharpness in his voice. You are not poison. You are a human being who's been hurt and is trying to heal. That's not a crime, and you're not responsible for Victoria's lies. But if you hadn't come, I'd still be going through motions, opening the shop, visiting Catherine's grave, existing but not living. You've reminded me that there's more to life than grief. He paused. Stelle, you're not ruining anything. You're waking things up. But Victoria will write whatever she writes and we'll deal with it together. He took her hand, the first time he'd initiated touch. You're not alone in this. Stelle looked at their joined hands, his warm and steady, hers trembling. I'm scared, Will. I know, me too. But faith isn't the absence of fear. It's trusting God even when you're terrified. He smiled sadly. At least that's what I'm told. I'm still working on it myself. They sat in silence, hands clasped, watching the water. Finally, Stelle said, Pastor Thomas thinks I should talk to her. Give her the real story. What do you think? I think I'm tired of running. I think I'm tired of performing. I think. She took a breath. I think I want to tell the truth. Even if it makes me look weak. Especially because it makes you look weak. That's when truth is most powerful. When did you get so wise? About 5 minutes ago. I'm improvising. He squeezed her hand. Whatever you decide, I'm with you. Friday morning, Stelle called Victoria. Miss Hastings, this is Diana Monroe. I understand you've been interviewing villagers about me. Victoria's voice was smooth as oil. Stella, I was hoping you'd reach out. I'd love to hear your side. I'll give you an interview. 1 hour. Tomorrow afternoon at Hartley & Son Books, but I have conditions. I'm listening. You can ask me anything. I'll answer honestly, but you have to print my full answers, not cherry-picked quotes. And you have to attend Sunday service at Grace Presbyterian Church. Experience the community yourself. Attend church? That's an unusual condition. You're writing about my faith. You should see it in context. Otherwise, you're just guessing. Victoria considered. An exclusive interview with Diana Monroe? That was gold. Fine, I'll attend, but I want Pastor Thomas available for interview too. Done. One more thing. Whatever you write, remember that these are real people, not characters in your narrative. They have lives and families and reputations. Please don't destroy them for clicks. I write the truth, Stella. If that's uncomfortable, perhaps that says more about you than me. We'll see. Stelle hung up. Her hands were shaking, but she'd done it. Now came the hard part. Saturday afternoon, Victoria arrived at the bookshop with her tablet and recording device. Will had closed the shop for privacy. He sat in his usual chair by the fireplace. Pastor Thomas and Arthur were present as witnesses, insisted upon by Mrs. Pemberton, who didn't trust Victoria alone with Stelle. Stelle sat in the window seat. She'd chosen to wear simple clothes. Jeans, sweater, no makeup. The real her, not Diana Monroe. Victoria set up her recorder. May I record this? Yes. Excellent. Let's begin. Stella, may I call you Stella? I prefer Stelle. That's who I am now. Interesting. Is that part of your reinvention? Creating a new identity? It's my actual name. Stelle is what my mother called me before I became a product. Victoria typed notes. Let's talk about that. Your mother, Diana Monroe, opera singer. Her career ended after my 1998 article about plagiarism allegations. Do you blame me for that? Stelle took a breath. Yes, because your article was based on lies. The man who accused her recanted years later, But you never corrected the story. My mother lost everything. Her career, her confidence, her joy. My father checked out emotionally. I spent my childhood watching them fall apart. So yes, I blame you. Victoria didn't flinch. I reported what sources told me. If the source was wrong, that's unfortunate, but I followed journalistic standards. You destroyed a family for a headline. That's not journalism. That's cruelty with a byline. And is that why you're here? Hiding from your own career collapse? Following in your mother's footsteps? I'm not hiding. I'm healing. By running away to a remote village and joining a church. Stelle, does that seem healthy to you? Or does it look like escaping one performance for another? Will started to interrupt, but Stelle held up a hand. She could do this. 6 weeks ago, I had what looked like a perfect life. Fame, money, a fiancé. But inside, I was dying. I'd spent 10 years pretending to be happy while slowly disappearing. When I discovered my fiancé kissing my best friend, something broke. But also, and this is important, something was freed. Freed? I realised I didn't have to keep pretending. I could choose differently, so I got in my car and drove. Ended up here, and for the first time in a decade, I could breathe. But you abandoned your career, your contracts, your responsibilities. I abandoned a life that was killing me. That's not weakness, that's survival. Victoria leaned forward. And William Hartley, the bookshop owner, what's the nature of your relationship? Will opened his mouth, but Stelle spoke first. Will is my friend. He's shown me what real kindness looks like, what faith looks like when it's not performed. He's grieving his late wife and rebuilding his life. We're helping each other remember how to be human. Just friends? Because my sources suggest romance. A vulnerable woman, a lonely widower. It's a compelling narrative. Some might say predatory. Your sources are wrong. And calling Will predatory says more about your cynicism than reality. Stelle's voice hardened. Will has been nothing but respectful. He makes me tea. He listens. He doesn't want anything from me. That's so foreign to my Hollywood experience that I didn't know how to process it at first. In my world, everyone wants something. Here, people just care, without agenda. Sounds cultish. It's called community. You should try it sometime. Victoria's smile tightened. Let's talk about your faith. You've attended Grace Presbyterian Church. Is this a genuine conversion or a publicity move for a comeback? There's no comeback. I'm done with Hollywood. You can't just quit. Watch me. Stelle leaned forward. My faith is new. It's messy. Some days I believe completely. Some days I doubt everything. But I'm seeking honestly for the first time in my life. That's not a performance. It's the opposite. But you must see how it looks. Actress has breakdown, finds religion in quaint village, probably working on a tell-all book. I'm not writing a book. I'm just trying to figure out who Stelle is when she's not playing Stella. Victoria changed tactics. Arthur Hartley, Will's father. I've learned he spent 15 years in prison for embezzlement. Did you know that when you befriended this family? I knew. And that doesn't concern you. An ex-convict in a position of church leadership, counselling a vulnerable young woman? Arthur spoke for the first time. Miss Hastings, may I? Mr. Hartley, please share. I was guilty. I embezzled money, betrayed my partner, lost everything. I deserved prison. I deserved worse. His voice was steady. But 30 years ago, I met Jesus Christ in that prison cell. He gave me something I didn't deserve. Forgiveness. When I came to Willowmere, this community gave me something else I didn't deserve. A second chance. I've spent 3 decades trying to honour that grace. Redemption stories are lovely, but does a prison record qualify someone to counsel others? Maybe it does, Stelle said, because Arthur knows what it's like to be broken beyond repair and put back together. He's not counselling from superiority. He's walking beside people who are where he was. How convenient. The broken helping the broken. Very moving, very marketable. Pastor Thomas spoke quietly. "Miss Hastings, what are you actually looking for here?" "Excuse me? What story are you trying to tell? Because it seems like you arrived with the narrative already written. Unstable actress, cult-like village, predatory relationships. Is there any evidence that could change your mind? Or are you just looking for quotes to support your predetermined conclusion?" Victoria bristled. "I'm a journalist. I follow the facts. No, you follow clicks. You found a vulnerable person and decided to make them more vulnerable for profit. That's not journalism. That's predation. How dare you? I dare because I've watched you interview kind people and twist their words. I've watched you look at genuine community and see manipulation. I've watched you take something beautiful and try to make it ugly." Pastor Thomas's voice remained gentle but firm. "The question is, why? What happened to you that made you this cynical?" The room went silent. Victoria's professional mask slipped. For just a moment, something raw showed through. "This interview is over," she said, standing abruptly. "Thank you for your time." "Wait," Stelle started, but Victoria was already gone, door slamming behind her. That night, Stelle couldn't sleep. The interview had gone better than expected. She'd told the truth, hadn't crumbled, hadn't performed. But Victoria's reaction to Pastor Thomas's question haunted her. "What happened to you?" The flash of pain in Victoria's eyes before the mask returned. At midnight, Stelle put on her jacket and walked through the village. She found herself outside the Shepherd's Rest. A light was on in one of the upstairs windows, Victoria's room. Before she could talk herself out of it, Stelle picked up a pebble and tossed it at the window. Nothing. She tried again. The window opened. Victoria looked down, surprised. "What are you doing?" "Can we talk? Off the record?" "It's midnight." "I know, please." Victoria studied her for a long moment, then, "I'll come down." They sat on a bench in the dark village green, strangers and enemies, and somehow something more. "You didn't have to come," Victoria said. "I know. But Pastor Thomas's question, it bothered me. What did happen to you? That's none of your business." "Probably not. But I'm asking anyway." Victoria was quiet for a long time. Finally, "My father was a journalist. Brilliant, principled, wrote about corruption and justice and truth. When I was 16, he was working on a story about a pharmaceutical company releasing drugs they knew were dangerous. The company sued him for libel, bankrupted him, destroyed his reputation. He killed himself 2 years later." Stelle's breath caught. "Victoria, I'm so sorry. The drugs were eventually pulled from the market." He was right, but being right didn't matter. The powerful won, truth lost. Victoria's voice was hollow. "So yes, I'm cynical. Because I learned that truth doesn't protect you. Power does. And if I'm going to survive in journalism, I need to be the one with power." "But that's exactly what the pharmaceutical company did. Used power to destroy someone telling the truth." "I know." Victoria's voice cracked. "I know, and I hate it. But I don't know how else to be." They sat in silence. "My mother," Stelle said quietly, "used to sing beautifully. Opera filled our house. After your article destroyed her career, she never sang again. Not once. I lost my mother to silence." "I'm sorry." "Are you?" "Yes, number. I don't know." Victoria put her head in her hands. "I followed the story I was given. I believed my source. And when he recanted, I told myself it was too late to fix it. But the truth is, I didn't want to admit I'd been wrong, that I'd hurt someone. So I just moved forward, on to the next story. And now I'm the next story." "Yes." "Will you destroy me like you destroyed her?" Victoria looked at Stelle. "I don't know. I came here planning to. The narrative wrote itself. Broken actress, isolated village, religious manipulation, perfect outrage bait, clicks for days. And now? Now I've met you, and these people, and I see—" Victoria's voice broke. "I see what my father saw. Truth, genuine community, people trying to live by principles even when it's hard. And I realise I've become exactly what destroyed him, someone who twists truth for power." Stelle reached out, took Victoria's hand. The woman flinched but didn't pull away. "It's not too late," Stelle whispered. "You can choose differently." "Can I? I've built a whole career on this." "So did I. And I walked away. It was terrifying, but I'm here, still breathing, learning to be human again." "But you had somewhere to run to." "I don't. You could stay. For a few days, experience this place. See if there's something here worth writing about that's true, not the twisted version, the real version." Victoria laughed bitterly. "Stay? In Willowmere? Attend your quaint church service?" "Yes, you promised you would anyway. Sunday service. Let yourself experience it. Not as a journalist, just as Victoria. See what happens. And if I hate it, then you write your hit piece and we both move on. But if you don't, maybe you write something different, something true." Victoria pulled her hand away, stood. "I should go." "Victoria, I'll think about it. That's all I can promise." She walked back to the pub, leaving Stelle alone in the darkness. Sunday morning dawned cold and clear. Stelle woke to church bells and a text from Will. "She's here." Victoria came to church. Stelle dressed quickly and walked to Grace Presbyterian. The church was full. Word had spread that the journalist was attending, and the whole village wanted to be there. Not confrontational, just present, bearing witness. Victoria sat in the back pew, looking profoundly uncomfortable in a designer dress that cost more than most people's monthly rent. Stelle slid into the pew beside her. "You came." "I said I would." "You could have lied." "I could have, but—" Victoria gestured helplessly. "I'm tired of lying." The service began. Mrs. Pemberton played Amazing Grace. The congregation sang, badly, beautifully, earnestly. Victoria remained silent, arms crossed, guarded. Pastor Thomas stood at the pulpit. Today's text is from John 8, the woman caught in adultery. He read the passage, the religious leaders dragging the woman before Jesus, demanding she be stoned according to the law, Jesus writing in the dirt, then standing and saying, "Let him who is without sin cast the first stone." One by one, the accusers leaving. Jesus alone with the woman. "Where are your accusers? Has no one condemned you?" "No one, Lord. Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." Pastor Thomas closed his Bible. This story is about a lot of things. Justice, mercy, hypocrisy. But at its core, it's about what happens when someone's worst moment becomes their public identity. Stelle felt tears coming. This woman was caught, exposed, dragged before the crowd. She was no longer a person, she was a scandal, a headline, a cautionary tale, her humanity erased by her worst choice. Pastor Thomas's voice gentled. And Jesus does something radical. He doesn't deny her sin, he doesn't excuse it, but he also doesn't let it define her. He sees past the scandal to the person, and he offers her something she doesn't deserve. A future. The church was completely silent. How many of us have been defined by our worst moments? How many of us have been reduced to a single story told by people who don't know us, stripped of context and complexity and humanity? Victoria's hands were gripping the pew in front of her. And how many of us have done that to others? Reduced them to headlines, made them characters in our narratives instead of full human beings? A tear slid down Victoria's cheek. The gospel is this: you are more than your worst moment. You are more than your biggest mistake. You are a beloved child of God, known fully and loved completely. And if accusers surround you, Jesus stands with you and asks, "Where are they? Has no one condemned you?" Pastor Thomas looked directly at Victoria. The answer is, neither do I condemn you. Neither does this community. Neither does God. You are forgiven. You are seen. You are offered a future. Victoria stood abruptly and fled the church. Stelle followed. She found Victoria outside, leaning against the church wall, sobbing, I can't! Victoria couldn't get words out. Stelle just held her, let her cry. After a long time, Victoria whispered, I'm the woman in the story. Caught, exposed, dragging others down with me. I'm her. We all are, Stelle said gently. That's the point. But I've hurt so many people. Your mother, you, countless others. I can't undo that. No, you can't. But Jesus didn't ask the woman to undo her past. He just told her to go and sin differently. I don't know how. Neither did I. 6 weeks ago, I didn't know how to be anything but Stella Monroe. But I'm learning, one day at a time, with help. Victoria pulled back, wiped her face. I can't stay here. This place, these people, they're too good. I don't belong. Neither did I. Neither did Arthur. Neither did most people here, probably. But they let us belong anyway. That's what grace does. I came here to destroy you. I know. I still might. Old habits. Then we'll deal with it. But Victoria, you don't have to keep being the person your pain created. You can choose differently. Victoria looked at the church, at the people inside singing, at the village spread below. What would I even write? She asked. The truth isn't sensational. It's just ordinary people being kind. That doesn't get clicks. Maybe that's exactly the story people need to read. My editor will hate it. Probably. I might lose my job. Possibly. So why would I do it? Stelle smiled. Because it's the truth. And isn't that what your father fought for? Victoria closed her eyes. I don't know if I believe in God, in redemption, in any of this. You don't have to believe today. Just don't run away. Stay. For a few more days. Let yourself experience this place. See what happens. Victoria looked at Stelle for a long moment. Okay, she finally said. Okay, I'll stay. That afternoon, Victoria asked to interview Arthur again. This time, not as a journalist looking for a scandalous angle, but as someone genuinely curious. They met at Arthur's cottage. He made tea. They talked for 3 hours about prison, about finding God in a cell, about coming to Willowmere broken and being rebuilt, about the difference between cheap grace and costly grace. I don't deserve forgiveness, Victoria said. None of us do. That's what makes it grace. But I need to make amends. To Stelle's mother, to the others I've hurt, you will. In time. But first, you need to forgive yourself. That's the hardest part. How did you? I didn't. I let God do it. I just stopped fighting him. Victoria cried again. Seemed to be doing a lot of that lately. I'm so tired of being angry, she whispered. I'm so tired of being hard. Then stop, Arthur said simply. Rest. Let yourself be soft again. What if I break? Then we'll help you put the pieces back together. That's what we do here. 3 days later, Victoria's article was published in the London Chronicle. The headline read, I went to destroy Stella Monroe. Instead, I found grace. The article was nothing like what Victoria had planned to write. It was honest, vulnerable. She confessed her agenda, confessed her own brokenness, and wrote about a village that chose kindness over judgment, truth over spectacle, and grace over condemnation. She wrote about Stelle not as a scandal, but as a human being seeking healing. About Will as a grieving widower rebuilding his life with quiet dignity. About Arthur as proof that redemption is possible. About a community that practices what they preach. And she wrote about herself, her cynicism, her father's death, her own need for the grace she'd witnessed. The article went viral, not because it was sensational, but because it was true. People hungry for hope shared it. Churches used it in sermons. Readers wept and wrote letters saying, "Me too." Stelle's phone exploded with messages, but this time they weren't from tabloids. They were from people thanking her for being honest, for showing that healing is possible, for reminding them that there are still good people in the world. Marcus called. She didn't answer. Emma called. She didn't answer. Her agent called, screaming about contracts and lawsuits and opportunities. Stelle listened calmly, then said, "I'm not coming back. I quit. Officially. Get a lawyer if you want. I don't care anymore." And she hung up. She was done performing. Friday evening, Stelle found Victoria at the stone bridge. "I read your article," Stelle said. "I was afraid you'd hate it. I made myself look pathetic." "You made yourself look human. It was beautiful." Victoria laughed shakily. "My editor did hate it, said it was too personal and not our brand, but readers loved it. I've gotten more engagement on this than anything I've written in years." "What will you do now?" "I don't know. Stay for a bit. Figure things out." Victoria turned to Stelle. "Is that okay? Me being here?" "More than okay." Stelle smiled. "Welcome to Willowmere, Victoria. Welcome to the journey." They stood on the bridge, watching the water, two broken women learning to be whole.